Chester. How's it going? How's everybody doing? How's it going in La La Land? So today, episode 19. I know you guys love these drive-bys. Get lots of comments about people saying, oh, I love when you do the ride-alongs, because that's what I do. I drive an awful lot during these inspections, and today was no exception. Today was a super busy day for driving. Super busy day for driving. Hey DV8, how's it going? Welcome. Thanks for joining me, man. It's a little later today. I got finished my 3 claims, so I decided to live stream after that. I'm actually in Greensboro right now, but I was in Pilot Mountain earlier, which is almost to Charlotte. Oh, very cool. Yeah. So I left at 7:15 this morning. Got to my first claim at 9, so that was almost a 2-hour drive to my first one. Then I drove 45 minutes to my second one. Then I drove back 45 minutes to my third one, and now I've got an hour and a half drive home. So, so it's a lot of driving today. Oh my goodness, a lot of driving. So yeah, leave at 7:15, and I will get home at 1 o'clock. That's what the GPS says. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, the life of a jester, absolutely. And you know what is so cool though is I love driving. In fact, that's kind of the odd part. Well, here's the thing. I think you should self-evaluate yourself when you get into this career, if you do like driving or you don't like driving, because that's just part of what you do. Not to mention, if you ever get called for a cat and it just doesn't make sense to fly because you got ladders and all your junk or whatever, you may be sitting in a car for 20 hours getting to the place where you're going. You know, one of my belief systems a long time ago for catastrophe work, and this is why I lived in Texas, was to always be in the center of the country when it comes to catastrophe claims, because then you're no further than 16 to 18 hours in any direction to get to be able to drive to the catastrophe. And that's very doable. Whereas here I am in North Carolina, I'm on the East Coast, and driving to California is just not possible. Not for a catastrophe. I'm not going to spend 3 days on the road, totally wasted by the time I get there, to have to start doing crazy amounts of work as far as handling claims. So it's just not feasible for me to go to California. And most of the time when you go, you're going to need your ladders. And so, oh yeah, it's the same thing in Florida. Absolutely. I mean, I love Florida. But here's the benefit, is that the amount of claims that actually happen west of Texas are not that many. There's not that many events. I mean, California, but who wants to go there? Generally speaking, everything's Midwest or East or South. And so, to me, if you're living in Texas or anywhere really east of Texas, you're in a prime spot, really, to be located for any cat event and be able to get there on time. Like, the actual perfect spot is really Tennessee. But getting enough daily claims there, you know, I've heard from some guys, and it's tough sometimes if they don't have a hailstorm. So staying busy in Tennessee is kind of hard. But beautiful place, and nice and central for every single thing that happened. You go north to Minnesota and hit all those hail and wind stuff, and Indiana gets tons of hail and wind, all the Tornado Valley. I mean, look what happened now. Goodness. You got more work than you can imagine right now living in the Midwest. So yeah, so crazy stuff. No, so this one, my first one was good. It's a good hail claim. So they had hail in Greensboro, which 1 to 2 inch recorded, and I got copper roofing that's got 1 inch hits on it. So, I mean, all my gutters got hit. the roof's in decent condition. I mean, it got hit, but it was a pretty rugged roof, the one that I was on, 30-year shingle that looked relatively new. It didn't do tremendous damage, but it definitely did damage. But I had enough collateral and enough evidence of that hail there that easily would justify buying the roof too. But this is good though, because this was an older house, 1900s. I had 4 big scooped copper dormers, and I was with the roofer out there, and gonna be incredibly expensive to replace those, as well as 3 chimneys on the house with all copper flashing around the chimneys. A percentage or a flat rate for daily there. Yeah, so I don't get a percentage. Basically, I get paid on a fee schedule. So the fee schedule is like $1 to $2,500. $1 to $2,500 pays like $300, $400, something like that. It's really crummy. And that's where, unfortunately, most of the claims happen when you're doing daily claims, is you're rarely, I don't want to say rarely, but just not very often have things over $5,000. They're just, everybody's calling stuff in. I got a water leak, my toilet overflowed. Now here's the thing, the claim total is way up there because they got mitigation. And mitigation could be $12,000, $15,000 to clean this thing and get it all back up to snuff. But drywall's cheap. 3¼ inch baseboard's cheap. Laminate flooring's cheap. So generally speaking, the repairs are not even terrible, even though there's a lot of damage. It's not a ton, we're just not in a really super high-end area where they put high-end stuff in. They would put all the cheap junk in most of the houses. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Raleigh's paying, I'm working actually better for a good insurance company. That's the only reason why. They've got others that pay $250, $225, something like that. So yeah, and I just don't work for those as much anymore. But I did, and I was really frustrated because you do a lot of work for nothing. But no, the fee schedule is really good on, say, a roof. Like this roof one, it'll be a $900 claim, for billing, because it's a big roof and it's a garage, so I'm getting the garage too, and then I'm also getting copper gutters. It's got some back porches, a couple downspouts. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool deal. Hey Michael, welcome. All right, just turned in my TWIA Daily. Very nice. I am definitely going to deploy outside of North Carolina if I can get something. Probably not TWIA though. I don't really like the coastal Houston stuff. Not for TWIA. Now I'll do hurricane stuff. That might be inland a little bit and get away from the far coastal stuff. But actually, I really like Florida, so I hope Florida gets hit again. Florida is my favorite state to work. Indiana's pretty awesome to get hit. They had a lot of hail up there, but I guess I got a lot of people that are helping them, so I'm not really doing anything up there. So yeah, that is what it is. But yeah, I mean, my goal is to go, but it's yeah, since you live in Florida, yeah. Well, the reason why Florida is good is because they have so many building codes for putting roofs on that are far superior than probably most of the country, except when you get up north. When you have, ice and water shield over the whole roof, stuff like that. That's different. But no, Florida just does so much amazing stuff for wind, for roof, and all the sealants they use, mastic, and all these line items that get added onto the roofs that they really, really jack the price up. You can get another $8,000 on a roof just from all the extras. And, we just don't get that here. We don't have all that stuff here. So, one-click code. No, I don't. I don't even know what that is. Sorry, Michael. Utilize one-click code. No, and that's probably telling me all the stuff based on each state, correct? Now, the reason why I don't use something like that is only because when I'm deployed to an event, the firm gives me all the codes, or gives me all their building codes. Tells me all the things, like they'll send out a cheat sheet, and it's because they've worked in these states over and over again. And so you literally will be, your GLR or whatever will be all loaded up with all the stuff that are specific to that state. So you never have to worry about whether you're leaving something off. And literally, the point is, turn in one claim as fast as you can. And what will happen is that file reviewer will correct you almost instantly for everything that you did wrong, and also send you all the updated codes if something changed. So that's what I do. The best thing to do is get one claim, turn it in, and then let some time pass. And that way they can send you back and say, okay, on this roof, we do this, we do this, we do this. Anyways, but typically they send us out a packet when we get deployed that has all those extras in it, all the things that are specific to that state. Yeah, the firms do it too. So maybe they're using the same platform. Who knows? But it is really it's really good to have all those things, because then what I do is I save my macros for that specific state. Like I have all my Florida macros, 30-year laminate, 3-tab shingle, all saved with Florida in the description, so that if I ever go back to Florida for a catastrophe and I'm replacing a 3-tab or a 30-year shingle, I just click on that macro, and that builds with all these extras that are already part of, you know, and it includes all the F9 notes, all those things, because you got to put it in. Code so-and-so says that we're replacing drip edge, code requires it, blah, blah, blah. Ice and water shield in the valleys, mastic over all seams of synthetic underlayment, mastic around pent boots, all those little F9 notes you can put in. Well, once you save it in your macro, then every time you drop it in again, it's already there. You're gonna have to write it once. So macros are a lifesaver, especially when it comes to going to different states too. Yeah, so I'm hoping, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen this year, but I'm hoping, you know, we'll get another Florida storm. We'll get maybe get an Alabama. They haven't had one in a while. Alabama needs a good storm. And really, Texas, they get one about every 2 years. So they're due for a good hurricane. Oklahoma, they get some really good stuff, depending on if it's a tornado, but not a lot of claims. So the local guys get it, but they get incredible hail events that happen because of that as well. So that's always really good. So I've used a few of your macros, used the ASI roof a while back. I don't do much for them. Yeah, well, ASI, something happened with Progressive and the firms. I don't know if they went all in-house. Well, I'm glad you used my macros, because yeah, I love it. The ASI ones, they're very specific about what they pay for, and it comes back to what they're paying for tear off and replace, or if they're only doing tear. I mean, some of the carriers are kind of cheap, where they'll say, we're not paying for tear off. We're just going to do some line item that says we're tearing it all off. And I'm like, you don't just grab a shovel and take off an HVAC vent. You got to take each nail out and be careful, you know, that you don't rip the thing off the inside of the house. And, you know, so you should be paying for a detach specifically on that HVAC vent. But these guys, these carriers, they just say, oh no, we're not paying for any tear off of anything. We already tore off the whole thing on the first line. And then includes all the disposal. Yeah, right. I mean, it's kind of lame, but, you know, unfortunately you got to do what the carriers do. If they say that's all they're paying, well, they can see the people in court, you know, or they always get supplements. So it's kind of stupid, but yeah, but then if you work for a good carrier, then they'll do the detach and reset on every one of those vent boots, every one of the HVAC vents. Same thing for all the flashing around your chimneys, everything. They'll pay for all the detach and reset, and then also do the tear off of the shingles and pay that. And it just adds up. It just does a really nice setup. But no, the whole point, Progressive, I don't know what happened. It's like almost they went all inside adjusters or something, because I was handling a ton. I mean, I'm telling you, a ton. They were my major first carrier that I was handling 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. It's been about 3 years since everything just kind of dropped off the end of the world. But I actually got my first ASI. I remember you guys telling on one of the last videos that I did that I got an ASI claim like out of the blue. And well, I got another one. It's like I only get one like every 3 months. It's like I used to get 10 or 15 of these a week, and now I'm down to like one every couple months if I'm lucky. So they're doing something where they're using desk adjusters to do everything, or they've gone to a ladder now, seat now, whatever, and they're just not having adjusters do it anymore. You know, they go through these phases where they try it. They'll try somebody really cheap, then they'll get a whole bunch of lawsuits, and then they'll come back to independent adjusters. And that's because we charge more. We charge more than like Seat Now or any of these other guys that are just ladder assist people. And so they don't want to pay that extra, and so they try it out, see if it'll work. And people rip them off, do a terrible job. They get a lot of lawsuits, or they get a lot of appraisals that come back where people are saying, "Hey, I want to invoke my appraisal clause and have, argue this." And if they start seeing all that, "Hey, Terrence, good to see you, man. Glad for joining me." So yeah, it goes through phases like that where they'll try it out for a while with some no-name, non-adjusters because they're working under somebody else's license. Yes, I'm an independent, Jeremy. Yes, I am an independent. I would not recommend being a staff adjuster or an employee adjuster, which are the same thing. And only because you've got to put in some serious time before you're going to make any money. And life's too short. I don't care if you're 25 or 30, it's still too short to work another 10 or 12 or 15 years before you're making any money. Like there was another guy on here, I can't remember what his name was, but he was like 25 or 30 years as a staff adjuster. I mean, before he started making money, he had to put in probably 20 years before he was actually making any decent money to talk about. And that's just hard. I mean, I get it. People want to stay in their local area and work for somebody. Yeah, and don't be a public adjuster. That's right. I mean, I don't want to say don't be. I say you can pick both sides. So there's two sides. Independent, staff, or employee are all on one side. And then the public adjusters on the other side. You cannot cross over. Once you become a public adjuster, you cannot cross over to the independent side. Now, I don't know anything about the staff. They might take you. But with that on your resume, you're probably going to leave a pretty nasty taste in the mouth of the carrier trying to hire you as a public adjuster. I don't know. They probably wouldn't hire you either. So you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot. Whereas, hey, be an independent first, be a staff first, do it till you're tired of it, and then go be a public adjuster and rip some people off. So, just kidding. There are some good ones out there. I mean, obviously, there's good and bad. Cops, there's good and bad. Lawyers, well, I don't know about that. I think all the lawyers are bad. So, but yeah, there's good and bad public adjusters too. But speaking though, in general, I just don't know how they sleep at night charging people 15 to 20% of their settlement. Some of them are only 10. So let's say you get a $20,000 check from the insurance company. Okay, so the check goes over to the public adjuster. He takes his 10%. If you're lucky, maybe it's 15 or 20. And then the deductible's already been taken out by the insurance company. So that $20,000 check automatically gets $2,000 taken out for the public adjuster, and maybe $1,000 or $2,000, depending on how big your deductible is. You could be down $3,000 to $4,000 before you even start the repairs. And that just, I don't know, it just kind of hurts when you think about it. You're hoping to get the money to fix what broke in your house, and then all of a sudden you got to pay this public adjuster, which the independents are going to do just as good a job. We're there to be unbiased and take care of you. And so you have interviews with insurance companies that pays hourly. starts at 65K. That's kind of low. Okay, that's kind of low. Great starter position if you don't have anything, Jeremy. I mean, if you have no experience, that's great. Independents with no experience can start at 85 to 100,000. So, and 85 is actually really low. My first gig with no experience in insurance whatsoever was 100K. And I did that for 2.5 years as an independent with no breaks, and got an incredible start on my insurance career. So they did lower the prices recently. What I was making $35.75 is what our going rate, that everybody across the board was $35.75. But now, you know, they're doing lots of different tiers of experience, and so they pay a little bit less too. What advice do you have for someone like me that recently graduated, now trying to get training in Xactimate and finding a position or a job? Okay, so like anybody who is, so Terrence, good question. So if you're trying to get into the field as an independent or an employee, everybody looks at your resume. Your resume is your key to whether you're going to get hired or not, because they don't do in-person interviews anymore. Most 99% of the time, probably not for independents or CAT adjusters or anything. They don't, no in-person stuff happens anymore for that type of thing. So they're just looking at your resume. Get your resume professionally done by somebody if you have absolutely no clue. It's worth its weight in gold. Maybe pay $200. Go look on Fiverr and hire somebody to build you a resume. And you might get one a whole lot cheaper. You might get one for about $65 or something like that. Somebody put it together really cheap. But all they're going to do is make it nice and presentable. It's going to list some of your experiences, and then you can build on that resume as you get more and more experience. You just keep adding things. Things you're going to add to that resume are like continuing education. That's a course that you're taking, and you don't have to tell them how many hours you have. You just say extra training and education that was career oriented. Start a column at the very end of your resume and start listing your continuing education courses. And they have great titles. The titles speak enough about what's in the training, and so it's a great addition to your resume. Now, if you don't have level 1 and level 2 Xactimate certification, I know for a fact, I heard this from many managers of firms. When I was first applying, every single one of them, it seemed like, asked me, do you have level 1 and level 2 certification? And I was like, well, I studied Xactimate. I know Xactimate. And they said, no, do you have level 1 and level 2 certification? And I was like, no. And they're like, well, then you don't know Xactimate. And I heard that several times when I was first applying to some of these firms. And so I looked it up, and basically it's 2 tests that are done. They actually have 3. They also have level 3, but nobody needs that. But they're tests that are administered by Xactware, which is the designer and builder of Xactimate. And they say, hey, if you can pass our tests, then we're going to give you a certification saying you're a pro. You know how to use Xactimate. And so that's the thing they're talking about. They're talking about you actually know how to use the program that insurance companies use and estimators use. And the reason why this is important is that that firm is going to be looking for that certification on your resume, because they don't want to hire you if you don't know how to use Xactimate. And the certification is literally the only thing that's going to tell them that you know how to use it properly. And the reason why is it's going to make a nightmare for their file reviewers every time you turn in a file, is that file reviewer then ends up becoming your trainer on Xactimate because you don't know how to use it. And has to tell you, oh, click this button, turn off that thing. You know, you're not supposed to be having a tax on O&P. And you're like, huh? Where's that button? You know, and all of a sudden that file reviewer is going to have to teach you where that button is. So this is why it's so critical. If you guys want to get work, you've got to get yourself looking like a pro on your resume. If you don't, and you wonder why you're not working, it's because your resume doesn't stand out more than anybody else's. And I'm trying to tell you, no one is looking at anything but the resume. They don't care who you know. Maybe if you got a referral from a manager to a firm and then somebody said, get this guy some work, maybe, but who knows managers and firms unless you've worked for some. So generally speaking, you're cold calling with that resume. You're just dropping in a resume and hoping it works out. And so I actually offer the level 1 and level 2 certification prep class. I call it a prep class because when I was talking with Xactware, they said I needed to be Xactimate trainer certified before I could actually offer the level 1 and level 2 certification. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And then they proceed to tell me it's going to cost me like $8,000, something like that. And I told them, I said, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a certifier. I don't want to start up a business. I said, I have an adjuster business. I don't want to start up a business as an Xactimate level 1 and 2 trainer. I said, that's not my goal. I don't want to do that. And they said, oh, and so he looked at some of my videos. He said, oh, your videos are fine. He said, you've used a disclaimer and said, this is not going to get you a certificate. This is not going to get you certified. And that's fine. You can teach whatever you want. We just know that the people that are giving the certificates, they have to pay a lot of money to get the certification to teach it. So therefore, we want to make sure that there aren't people out there stealing that accreditation from them. And like, I don't want to be a trainer, so I'm not trying to steal anything from anybody. So anyways, so what I basically did is in my course, and it's basically level 1 and level 2, there's about 25 hours of videos in the first one and probably another 12 to 14 hours in the second one. And it's adjuster and Xactimate training. And that's going to teach you all the scenarios, not all, but most of the scenarios that you would run into with using Xactimate and how it applies in a situation when you're an adjuster. Whereas those certification courses and those trainers are only teaching you Xactimate. Okay, they're not teaching you adjuster stuff because most of them are not adjusters. They're just trainers. And so I'm giving you real world applications of how to use this program when you're using it as an adjuster and in each scenario. And the reason why that's important is because I passed the level 1 and level 2, and I thought, I'm Mr. Amazing, and I was like, I'm certified now. Well, then I got deployed to a catastrophe to do hail. I didn't know squat. That program was so difficult because I'd never learned how it applied in real life stuff. And that's because the level 1 and 2 training course does not teach you adjusting stuff. It doesn't teach you how to apply it practically. And so that's why I designed this course, was I was like, you know what? It's a far better way to learn the tool, but then learn how to use it in the world rather than just learning the tool. I mean, think about it. You go to Word, you learn Word, and you're learning how to merge documents or whatever. Or you're learning how to create a mail merge, okay? You might learn the steps on how to do it, but you don't know how to put the envelope in the printer the proper way. You don't know how to, there's so many different practical things about, creating a mail merge, the back end stuff. But if you took a course online on mail merge, this is going to teach you about the button and how to do it, how to print it. But they're not going to teach you how to actually get envelopes out with the addresses on the envelopes. It's totally different. It's a whole world application that they're not going to teach you. So this is what my course is like, is it's going to teach you how to use the course and operate as an adjuster, knowing how to use Xactimate. And when I was creating these videos, I actually learned a lot myself, because I had to go back and research a little bit more on some of the really new buttons they put in there, because it wasn't in there when I took my course, because I was back on 27.5, not X1. So So yeah, you need the certs on your resume. You need carrier certifications, like all your insurance carriers. You want to get State Farm certified, State Farm Auto certified, Liberty Mutual, USAA. Yeah, there's all sorts of them that are out there. Those are big pluses. Wouldn't hurt to have a steep and tall certification, and that teaches, showing that you're safe on climbing. If you don't know how to climb, take one. It's going to be a great course for you to learn how to climb these steep and tall roofs, only 4 feet off the ground, so so you don't fall and kill yourself. So, but it's giving you all the tools and stuff that you need, and then you can put that on your resume, and it looks really cool. Because then they go, hey, you're a safe climber. We're not going to have any issues. We're not going to lose a guy. Now remember, the reason why this is important to put that on your resume is if you're the only guy in that area from that firm, they bring you on. I heard, real life story, guys. Had an insurance company call me up, or an insurance firm call me up, and they said, hey, we were just awarded this insurance company in North Carolina. We have no one else in central North Carolina that can help us with those claims. Would you be interested in helping us out? And they sent me the fee schedule. It was good. And I was like, sure. And they said, you understand, you are our only guy. And I was like, how many hours away? And they're like, 3 hours. And like in any direction, you're the only guy. We're really counting on you. Okay. Reason why this is important, for instance, steep and tall training. You fall off the roof, you're out of commission for 8 weeks because you broke your leg. You get down that firm, and that firm is going to be really mad at you for falling. Now they may say, oh, sorry you got hurt, but now you just affected their business representing an insurance company. It's going to make that firm look bad. Okay, so it can burn you bad if you don't keep yourself safe. You stop yourself from getting hurt, and you're always dependable to always accept those claims. Because once you burn somebody bad, they'll never use you ever again. You get one chance in this world, guys. And I know that from fact. I have several fellows, good friends of mine, I've tried to help get into a firm, and gave these guys the numbers, the names of the guys to the managers, my managers. And they wrote me back and said, oh man, I hate to say this, but your guy, did this, or this years and years ago when he was having whatever problem, and he left us high and dry on a couple claims. Now we've already blacklisted him. He won't ever work for us. So stuff happens, guys. You can get burnt in a heartbeat. This world, in the insurance world, is very small. The circle of friends, the circle of people, is very, very small. This is not like corporate America where you'll never see the same person twice. You will go to a catastrophe and see the same guy, same girl. You'll go to an adjuster conference. You'll see the same people. You go to flood training. You'll see the same people. You go on another deployment. 4 years later, same people. My desk adjusters were people I sat next to, for different insurance companies. I mean, I see them all the time. I hear about them all the time. They call me and tell me, oh, I can't believe you're still in the business. And I go, yeah, it's a small world, isn't it? And it truly is a small world. So you don't want to burn your bridges. All right, get Xactimate level 1, then your resume out to a minimum of 20 firms, then get level 2, then update all firms. Yeah, great plan. BV8's got it right on the money, guys. It's about contact. So anytime you make a change on your resume that's significant, whether it's a carrier certification, you're moving to a new area, you want to call every one of those firms and tell them, have a phone call, have a clipboard or an Excel spreadsheet is what I do, with all the names and the phone numbers and the firms, and then who I talked with last, the date I talked to, and what I talked about. And then if I ever have to talk to them again, I'll update the notes and send it again to that same. I'll talk to that same person. Maybe that person doesn't work there anymore. Well then, okay, who's in charge? Who's the next person in charge? And then you just keep that person with you that you constantly talk to. You always get the same person. And then anytime you have an update on something that you've done in your resume or job experience, hey, I just deployed on a catastrophe, just want to let you know, I got 100 claims, working Hurricane Milton, just want to let you know. And they're going to go, wow, cool, you got deployed. That was a big storm. I heard all about that. Yeah, we had 30 of our own guys go. It was great. And all of a sudden you're telling them information that puts you on the same level as the people that are actually working for their firm too. And then they'll go, oh, what state do you live in? Oh, you live in North Carolina? Okay, well, we actually need somebody to do some more daily claims there. Are you interested? Wow, imagine that. So that's how it works. And then the other thing is catadjuster.org. Go on the web and make a profile on catadjuster.org. I have received tons of work where people have called me up, new firms, found my name on catadjuster.org and said, found you on catadjuster.org. We'd love to, send you a packet, get you signed up, do some daily claims with us. I didn't call them, they called me. So there's the phone call you're waiting for. But if you were never on the roster, or like on that catadjuster.com or .org roster, then you never have that contact. So very, very, very important to get yourself networking, guys. The other thing is LinkedIn profile. Okay, I've also received tons and tons of contacts from people reaching out on that. I'm also on a couple groups. I got one, P&C professionals, or it's property casualty professionals. 50,000 people are in that group, and I post regularly in that group, and people are reaching out all the time. Oh, love your video, love you this, love that. Hey, you ever want to connect, get coffee while we're in town? So it's a network, guys, and the more you network yourself and make yourself a professional, you're trying to sell yourself in your resume and your professionalism. It's a constant, it's ongoing all the time. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. Only 2 people have liked something in my live today. 2 people! 2 people! No one likes my stuff. I can't get you guys to put likes in there for nothing. It's just to tap the screen, the little thing up top. Just push the up button or whatever. That's so funny. Yeah, so let's see, put a 1 in the chat if you are an adjuster, and a 2 in the chat if you are not an adjuster. I got 11 people in here. I got 3 or 4 that are commenting, which is great. Thanks, guys. But put a 1 in the chat if you are an adjuster. Put a 2 in the chat if you are not an adjuster. I'd like to know who I'm speaking with. Terrence, I know. Good job. Deviate, I know you are. Charles Scott, in-house. Very cool. Okay. What company are you working for, Charles? And then what part of insurance, what type of insurance are you working in, Charles? Is it property, auto, liability, medical? What are you working on? Hey, nothing wrong with being a newbie, Terrence. Nothing wrong. We all started there. I've been doing this 11 years. I only started my YouTube channel 3 years ago. So if you guys want to subscribe to me, make sure you go to Daniel the Adjuster on YouTube and subscribe. Lots of great things going on with the channel. I got membership over there. I got my macros if you're trying to make writing estimates easier. Property, very good, Charles. Very good. Yeah, see, I started out as an auto guy because I couldn't get into property, even though I was a home builder for 18 years, a home builder and remodeler for 18 years. Grew up as a carpenter, okay? So I had property experience out the wing, but could not get hired. So I just took the first available. State Farm was hiring auto, and 11 years in auto, very cool. But I was very thankful very thankful for the auto experience that I got, because it taught me a lot of liability stuff, which was priceless. I mean, it's really important, learning liability and cause of losses, and just the terminology, the language, and learn policy. Oh my goodness, reading how many policies I read in my lifetime. I'll tell you, that was enough to do me in. But yeah, it's when you are trying to figure out coverage, you're reading that policy in great detail, and then you've got to justify it in your notes sometimes of why you're giving or forwarding coverage or affording coverage. So it's great knowledge. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, policy language was only when I was an inside adjuster. See, now I kind of get spoiled now, because I get to just blame it on the desk adjuster and go, well, I'm just the estimator. And they just don't want us talking policy, because we're not supposed to be talking coverage, even though I could, and I know 90% of what I walk into, I would say it might even be higher than that, 95, might be higher than that, probably 98% of everything I walk into, I already know what's covered. Covered or not. Just saw one today, not covered. I mean, it's like second knowledge now. I mean, you've got to stay unbiased. You got to still treat them nicely, and and pretend like they're getting coverage. Talk to them nicely about it. Does anyone have social that I can reach out to on some more about this? Oh yeah, so hey, Terrence, check out my Discord. So in the link of this video, there's a link for Discord. That is a community of adjusters that I started up about 2 or 3 years ago. And all it is adjusters, new, medium, old, professional, whatever, all chatting. It's just a chat group. And it's free to join. And there are all sorts of things: material identification, licensing, deployments, fee schedules. They talk about everything imaginable. It would be great for you to get in there on the Discord. I tell everybody that. Hey, that's how I got started, guys. There was a Discord, or not a Discord, but it was a chat group on one of these things, kind of like catadjuster.org, but there was another one, I can't remember what it was called. And that's where I met 3 of my mentors that ended up really helping me through the beginning of my career. And all those 3 guys are now not doing adjusting, but that's where I met them, was on a community. And they were just helping people out and doing everything. And so that's what the Discord was started. There's very few, if any, of those type of communities out there anymore. So it's definitely, yeah, the link's in the, Terrence, look in the video under the description, and you will find the link to the Discord. Just go down about 5 or 6 links down there. It's in there. Yeah, it's in there. And if you don't see it there, which it will be there, but you can go to a YouTube video of mine, and it's in every one of the links in the description as well. So yeah, trust me, I've heard so many compliments on that Discord. People love it. And then yes, you can independently direct message everybody, independently, or talk as a group. You make good friends, you find out who's local, you say, hey, who here's in Florida? All of a sudden you found a guy who lives right next door to you. So it's totally awesome. I just think it's great. So yeah, check that out. I mean, here's the thing, guys. My whole purpose to become a professional at doing this, and the reason why, guys, is the amount of training on how to be an adjuster is very limited. All right, glad you found it, Terrence. Yeah, the amount of information that is out there to teach adjusters how to be adjusters is very limited. And so I designed this channel so that you could literally watch every video from start to finish, and you would say, wow, I think I got a handle on this adjusting thing. I think I know what it's all about now. And that's the whole point. The whole point is it's a teaching channel to teach you guys how to be an adjuster. So I have roofer friends who told me that now their roofing company is using my videos as part of the training program, teaching the roofers what hail damage looks like. Can you believe that? So when these guys, it was so funny. I met this, and I got a couple videos on it there too, because on my YouTube channel, where I actually found a guy who was working for a roofing company, and he goes, "Oh my God, it's Daniel the adjuster," and he was like giggling in his boots, and like he was the roofer that was there for our inspection. And so he told me, he says, "I watched about 5 hours of videos on your YouTube channel." It was teaching me how to look for hail damage. So videos helped me make the decision to do this. Oh, good, Deviate. Awesome, man. You know, I just hope one day I'm going to be able to meet all you guys. I would love to do a conference one day where it just comes all together and we just get together and we just have a big powwow. That'd be fun. Yeah, so Xactimate is hard, but you will get better and better the longer you use it. So it's a familiarity game. It's like anything. Man, when I went to State Farm and I was using their ECS program, I was like, you got to be kidding. This program was very overwhelming for about the first 2 weeks. And then after you're using it every day, then you start figuring stuff out. And then you're talking to your friends, you're talking to people. And so that's what you do. You get on the Discord, you start talking about stuff that you're learning on Xactimate, and you're like, how do you find this? Or how do you do that? How do you sketch that? You watch some of my videos, you watch somebody else's videos, and you just keep on learning. Then eventually you're going to get so familiar with it that it's going to become second nature. And I would say if you're doing it all the time, in 6 months you're going to be a pro. I mean, if you're in it all the time, you're using it all the time, 6 months and you got this thing cakewalk. You could draw anything. So, but if you're not, and you're just kind of dabbling in it, it's going to take you a long time. It's going to take you a long, long time. So that's where you want to take a course, and when you're taking a course, you're in it every day, you're using it, you're playing with it, you're learning from the lessons, you're copying the lessons, and that's what my course is. I'm in that program almost 40 hours for the videos. You're in the program. I get the screen wide open and I'm just walking through the program for 40 hours. And so if you do that, 40 hours in front of that program, you're going to know that program. So anyways, you guys, I'm pushing it because it works. The stuff that I teach you guys, I know it works because people come back. I had a guy just take the course and he wrote back and he says, "Man, this is so incredible." He said, you teach it in a way that it makes it so much easier to understand. And so the same thing with the macros. I've sold, lost count, thousands, probably 1,000 macros of the ones that I've put up. Maybe not, probably 500 for sure. And the amount of compliments that I receive on those macros are incredible, because people, when you use them and you understand them, you'll see the tools that I'm giving you are there to make you better. Okay, so you have questions, you guys. What are macros? Okay, macros, simple. It's a shortcut. So when you go to build a roof estimate, you're going to have lots of line items. You're going to have, could have 15 to 20 line items in that roof rebuild. From the tearing off the shingles, putting on the shingles, putting on the felt, putting on the drip edge, all your vents, your boots, skylights, flashings, satellite dishes, ridge cap, ridge shingles, hip shingles. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. And you got your steep and tall charges. Okay, so you got your pitch. Depending on what pitch you are, they're going to give you a little extra money for the amount of pitch height that your roof is. Then if you're a 2-story roof, you're going to pay you a little extra for that. So all these line items, I went ahead and put them into one line item. And it says, for instance, I use Universal Insurance a lot. So I put Universal, UNIV, dash, 30-year laminate shingle replace. And that is the line description that I have as a macro. So when I go to build my sketch, it's a 3D version or overhead version of the roof. It's all done, it's all finished. I go to my macros, I take that one line item, I click on it, drag it, put it right on, or double click it, and it immediately goes to whatever roof I have highlighted. And all those line items drop into that estimate in 1 second. All there. Now, the only thing you have to do is go through line by line, double checking your waste, because 10% is on a gable roof and 15% is on a hip roof. So you might have to change that, but those calculations are already in there. So you're only changing one number. It's either a 0 or it's a 5. Okay? Then you're going to say, oh, I got 3 vent boots, not 2. Or most of the time in my macros, I put 0. And I put 0 so that if you left something with a 0, you might be going down the line and say, oh, there is nothing there, and you just leave it in. When you go to complete your estimate and try to close it out, it's going to say can't complete it because there's a $0 item in your estimate. So it's kind of like a catch. And you'll be able to go back later and go, oh, I forgot to put that in. Or you didn't look at it right, which you were supposed to delete it. So you basically change the number of the amount of items that are on the roof, or you delete that line item because it's not on the roof. And you get all the way through to the bottom, and then you're done. And you got your whole estimate is built in 5 to 10 minutes at the most. And then you highlight it all, change the coverage to dwelling, change the depreciation to how many years old the roof is, your estimate's done. Your roof estimate's done in 5 to 10 minutes. So Terrence, Xactimate software is the expensive part. Yeah, exactly. Review your F9 notes, absolutely. And depending on what you put in your macro, you may not have put any F9 notes. I do put F9 in because all my tear off includes all tear off and disposal for drip shingles, felt paper, drip edge, flashings, blah, 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 vents, blah, blah, blah. And then the same thing goes when you put in your waistline. It'll say, this includes 15% waste, whatever. So yeah, but you can make those macros custom to you. Maybe you don't like the way mine are made, but mine start out kind of really basic with everything in them. And then you can now change that macro to be exactly how you want it. Maybe it's specific to your carrier that you're working for. And all you have to do is then save it and label it as Progressive, 30-year laminate replace, or whatever company you're working for, Allstate or Liberty Mutual or whatever. And you save that as a new macro and use that again on every time that you're working one of those carriers things. So I did that. I saved my macros based on the insurance company because every insurance company seems to have a different way they pay roofs or pay for interior damage. Now remember, the macros are not just roof, they're everything. There's water damage, there's drywall, tile, laminate flooring, wallpaper, you name every imaginable item, siding, windows, doors, fire. But there's over 400 of them, and it's only $49. So hey, what a steal. I'm not here to make money because I could sell those for $150, $200 in a heartbeat. So, and the same thing goes, guys, for the course. The course for level 1 and 2, it's $99 a month. If you applied yourself for 1 month, you would have your level 1 certification for $99. If you applied yourself for another month, level 2, $99. Where can you get level 1 and level 2 certification training for $200? There's nobody on the web right now doing that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The cheapest one I saw was about $400. So yeah, Terrence, it's and the same thing goes for drywall repair. If I got a hole in the wall and I have to remember all the line items, my masking, my covering the floors, masking the walls to for overspray, covering my light fixtures, moving the contents out of the room, priming the area, like doing the drywall repair, priming that area, painting the wall. Some of those carriers only pay to paint the one wall twice, and then they'll paint the room once. And so every carrier is different on how they do drywall repairs, and you can have all this pre-saved and save you tons and tons of money. When I do a patch for drywall in a house, it takes me longer to sketch the room, a square room, okay, square room or whatever, put the closet doors in, put the closet in, put the doors in, the windows in. It takes me longer to sketch the room, which is not much, it's only about 5 minutes. And it takes me about 2 minutes to drop in the repair. So, super fast. Super fast. And guys, it does not take that long. Once you got these macros, once you figure out how to make estimates, everything goes really, really fast. Start to finish, I can write a water damage claim, even if there's $2,000 damage, 1 hour tops from start to finish, guys. It's just, it just doesn't take that long after you're familiar with the program. Now, looking back, that same claim took me 3 hours to write when I was new. So it's truly about experience and knowledge, and you just got to take that learning curve, and it just takes time, guys. But it's awesome. All right, so you did level 1 and 2 in 2 weeks. Yes, I know it. Very good. Man, you did better than I did, because it took me a while to learn it. Okay, what would you say is the best way to become an adjuster would be? Okay, no experience, got my license and getting certified for Xactimate level 1 and 2. There was that 8. I can't read what the last thing says. Sorry, I don't want to look too long while I'm driving. So everybody's situation is different. I learned by going in as an independent into a desk scenario. Okay, so you get hired by the insurance company. I went through Alacrity. Back then it was Whirly. So Alacrity is now the same company, and they do the certification for State Farm in their offices down in Louisiana. So you got to go down there, you pay a couple $300 for the class, and you stay there for a day or two, and then you get the certification. You get property and auto certification for the weekend. Definitely worth the money, because now you can work for State Farm. Well, Alacrity is really good because now they've got somebody who passed the courses, and they know they can send you into the office on a gig as soon as they get it. And yes, those gigs are in different locations, probably from where you live. And so you've got to make a sacrifice to go and move to that area for 3 months, 6 months, or whatever it happens to be, to get that experience. And if it's worth it to you, you'll figure out how to do it. And when I got into this, I was a home builder for 18 years, and the economy tanked, and there was no work, guys. No work. There was no one hiring me for remodeling. There was no one hiring me for new builds. Everybody was broke because the stock market crashed. There was no money, no building, and 50 of my friends went bankrupt. I didn't go bankrupt. I didn't have a choice. There was no option for me to put tool belt on and go work somewhere. It wasn't there. There was nobody building. Okay, so I changed careers. And so I did everything I could, asking my mentors what to do, and I just did it. And what I did is, they said, take a course. I took the course. I went into my savings, put it on a credit card, whatever it was. I did it. And then bugged the tar out of it, got on 40 rosters, called them every week until I had a no-name place in Texas call me up and said, fine. All right, we got some hail up in Abilene, Texas. Go do it. Gave me 25 claims. It was a nightmare. It was the worst thing I ever did in my life. Worst quality product, I'm ashamed to admit. But as soon as I got that experience, no one cared anymore about, how bad I did. They didn't call up and say, well, how did you do on those claims? None of that mattered. It was on my resume. CAT adjuster, Abilene, Texas, 25 claims. I didn't even put 25 on it. I just said CAT adjuster, Abilene, for 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, I started getting calls from other people saying, oh, you're a CAT adjuster. And the doors started opening. So guys, it's just a matter of being persistent and doing the hard stuff. The other thing I did when I wanted to find work as a daily adjuster is I called up to firms and I just said, where do you have a need? Anywhere in the country. where are you short an adjuster that you wish you had somebody? And they said to me, Maryland. And I was like, Maryland. I said it to myself, but all of a sudden it was, we're going to Maryland. So I told my wife, we homeschooled our kids at the time, and we said, we're going on a trip to Maryland. If I'm going to make a business out of this, I've got to be available. They say there's work in Maryland. So we rented a place up there. Had to scrape boots, and we left our house here empty. And back then, looking at it differently, I probably would have done Airbnb or something. But just we didn't know how long we were going for, so it was just a matter of taking a chance. And we ended up doing great and got tons of experience in daily claims, handling stuff in Maryland and DC and Delaware and Virginia and all these different places. And it just started building the resume. So you just gotta have tough stuff sometimes, guys, if you want to have a chance. And that's all I'm saying, is that if you want it bad enough, you want it. If you don't, you're gonna sit on home and you're gonna wait for somebody to call you, and it's never gonna happen. And then you're gonna drop out and you're gonna go, oh, that adjuster thing, that was just a waste of time. There's no way it would have worked. Well, it doesn't work for anybody who sits around. It has to be proactive. All right, you need to finish the narrative report of the claim. We're working. Going to mute you for a while. Okay. DB, appreciate you coming in, man. Good to see you all. No, I'm not a vet. No, I'm actually Canadian, or was Canadian. I'm American now, but I grew up in Canada. So yeah, so it's just, I've been self-employed for 35 years, guys, and that's the total difference between the employee mindset and the self-employment mindset, is that you realize nothing's going to happen unless you do it yourself. Okay? So if you want to get this job going, don't depend on anybody else. Don't think it's going to, somebody's going to give you a 4-leaf clover and it's just going to be perfect for you. It doesn't work that way. The people that get this business are the proactive, very go-getting, just very enthusiastic, very personable people that understand if you want something, you're going to go get it. The people that get mad in this business and they have nothing bad to say about it are the people that never pursued it and we're just waiting for the phone to ring. And I know I could probably name you 5 or 6 people that I got in the business and within 6 months they were out. And I was coaching them, I was teaching them, I was telling them what to do, and they couldn't do it. They just did not have the enthusiasm to do it on their own. Because I would call them up and I would say, so did you call these people? Oh, I meant to. And then, it was like, yeah, 35 years self-employed. I am 57 years old, so that will help you understand. I got more energy. I got more energy than most people who are 40. And so that's just who I am. I'm kind of an intense person. Corey Jones, first time in your live, and I watch you every day. I'm now working on my rope and harness. Very good. Well, glad you're here. Well, I tell you, it's I try to live as much as possible when I work. So, Terrence, to answer your question, daily claims are very sporadic in the fall and winter is our slow period, and then it really takes some time to get it going in the spring. So we're just squeaking into the start of busy season. So mid-March to April is hail season in North Carolina. It's the start of it. And so we just had a hailstorm like 3 days ago. And so I got a bunch of claims in Greensboro, and that's why I was driving a bunch today. I got 3 today, and I have 3 tomorrow. So they all came in within one day I had 6 claims that came in. So daily claims are like that. You have no idea when the work's coming in, but you work from home. So I'm home, like I'll be home in 10 minutes, be like 1 o'clock today, but most of the time I'm home by 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm home, I'm writing claims till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I go to the gym, take a break, hang out, watch, take a nap sometimes. I mean, it's so casual. My life is so casual right now. It's pretty awesome. It's absolutely pretty awesome. And then the summer, it gets really busy, and that's okay. This is the season. So the season is lots of storms, lots of events, and depending on how many people you work for, different insurance companies, then you can stay really, really busy. There was a time, not but 3-4 years ago, that during the summer I was handling 25 to 30 claims a week. Okay, that's very busy. Okay, very busy, and that's working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. But that's just the season. Then you're making killer money. You're making $100,000 just in the summer. So it's worth it because you're making the money. The more you work, the more you make. When you don't work, you don't make any money. So it is what it is. Man, you're a celebrity to me. Oh, thank you. 25 in the booking and looking towards a long career. Man, if I had done this when I was 25, oh, you're so lucky, Corey. I mean, honestly, to the money that you guys can make at a young age is absolutely insanity. It's absolutely insanity. You don't even have that many bills. Stay out of college. Don't go to college. Don't waste your money in college. You don't need a college degree for this. Okay? And I would never have gone to college. I never would have wasted all that money I spent on, if I could have been deployed. And I knew a guy in my auto deployment. It was my first deployment, and it was his first. He was 19. 19! First year college. And he went 1 year to college, and then he was doing this in the summer. And it was a first hire. Never done it before, because I got lucky, because they were hiring everybody back then. And it was totally amazing. And he said, I'm quitting college. Forget this, man. I'll make $100,000. I'm 19 years old making $100,000. He says, where can I do that with a college degree? And he was right on the money. Now, I don't know how long he stayed in it. He was with a girl, and I don't know, but yeah, but if he was smart, man, he would just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And, if you get bored of one thing, try something new. Oh yeah, commercial stuff, awesome pay, because you get big dollars for that, Corey. Big dollars for that. Now I'm working with, CGT, working with State Farm, deployed adjuster, very good. Love every bit of it. Yeah, I totally agree, guys. And here's the thing, there are so many different types of insurance. So many types. I mean, people, I just got a note from one of the firms day before yesterday, an email. It said, please let us know if you are Part 107 certified. Finally! That's drones, guys. Finally! There's a firm. They said, we have a carrier who is interested in drone-only inspections. And I'm like, I get to fly my drone and make money. It's like, what a dream. If I could get set up on these. And so I wrote right back, sent them my certification, and said, sign me up. Because listen, so what? They pay you $75. Whatever. I don't even know what the inspections would be. 7,500, whatever. I mean, I'm guessing. Because if they're only doing the drone inspection, all they want is the footage. And then they'll make everybody else do everything else. You may not even have to make a report. But if I could do 10 of those a day, I mean, you don't need anybody's permission. You walk up the door and say, I'm here to do inspection. Boom. You don't even have to call them up. You just tell them. Somewhere between 12 and 4, I'll be there to do a drone inspection. You probably won't even know I'm there. And go off and do a drone inspection, make $750 a day, and life would be awesome. Anyways, there's stuff like that coming around the corner. There's always something new. Crop adjusting, boat adjusting, medical. Well, I did some workman comp. It was really cool. Here I was like pretending like I was an investigator. out there investigating car wrecks and scenes, from areas, recording all the signs, doing video panorama and all this stuff. All I had to do was turn in the scene investigation to show them liability. Show them the skid marks on the ground. Paid me $200, for an hour's worth of video. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things, guys. It's really, there's just sky's the limit. Go work as a roofer, home remodeling, or ladder assist. Yeah, you could do that. That's an option for you. The ladder assist is probably good. Get you familiar with the roofing for sure. You could go work for a remediation company. Okay, you could say, hey, I'm here to improve my skills with Xactimate. I was wondering if I could help you write your estimates for the water damage, like for the tear out. They would love it if they know you're level 1 and 2 certified, and you just want to learn how to get some more experience on Xactimate. Man, they would love it. But here's the thing: you got to pursue where you want to go. And if you spend a whole lot of time kind of getting distracted with going all these different routes, you're not really doing exactly what you want to do. So if you want to be a CAD adjuster, and you want to be a desk adjuster, or you want to be a field adjuster, then make all your experience directed towards that. Meaning, get yourself on 40 rosters, calling them every week, calling them every quarter, whatever it happens to be. Bugging the tar out of them, guys. You keep calling them. If they don't have them, call somebody else. Get on 100 rosters if you have to. Somebody will hire you because you live in an area where they want a backup, or they don't have anybody at all. Okay? So, and all you have to do is be available. And if you're available, then you will be chosen. People are always messing up. Somebody calls up and says, my wife's having a baby, she had troubles with her baby, and now I have to stay home, take care of the baby. I can't do any more field claims. It's going to be like probably 3 months before I can get back. All of a sudden, wow, there's a vacancy for 3 months. Well, guess what? You get 3 months to shine, taking over this guy's position because you were bugging the tar out of that roster, calling them every week, and they're sitting there going, we just lost our guy, man. What are we going to do? We have nobody in the area. And then you call up. Oh, we got a guy right there. Oh my God, I didn't know. And all of a sudden, you get your foot in, and guess what's going to happen to the guy when he comes back? There's not going to be a position, because in 3 months you're going to be awesome. You're going to be showing you're the best adjuster that's doing what you're supposed to be doing. Your reports are looking fantastic. They're clean. They're error-free, or just with minor errors. They're going to look at it and go, we don't need to hire the other guy. We got a great replacement. It happens all the time, guys. Once you prove yourself and you get in there, you just stole a position that was somebody else's, and now you got it. All right, so guys, that's how it works. Is you may only get one chance. Just don't blow it, and do your best, and double and triple check your estimates before sending them in. Don't expect that file reviewer to be your corrector. Do your own corrections. Have a friend look at it. Send it over to another buddy of yours. Say, hey, can you look at this estimate real quick before I turn it in? See if it looks all right. Guys will do that. If we're trying to help each other out. So you can share an estimate in no time. All right, guys. Well, it looks like I'm almost home. So I'm going to end this live. I have been on here for almost an hour and 20 minutes. So that was good. Good drive home. Finally home. Now I can write up my 3 claims. Thanks for watching me, guys. I gained some new people. Make sure you hit the like button, Corey, since you're brand new here. And guys, make sure you check out the Discord. Remember, everybody should be on that Discord, because that's how you're going to get contacts. That's how you're going to make friends. You're going to find out somebody lives close by to you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell so that every single time I go live, you guys you'll know when I'm going live. Okay? That way you won't miss anything. And the longer you keep submerging yourself in good information and talking to me, you guys made some new friends on here already. This is great. This is how it works, guys. We stick together, we help each other out, and we're going to get better. So guys, thanks so much for sticking around. DV8, Corey, Terrence, glad you guys are all here. CVT, I think it is. CVT. Corey. CV. See, Jimmy was here. Corey. CGT. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so guys, thanks all for joining me here. And you guys be safe out there. And Jay Strong, you're welcome. All right, guys, thanks for all. Make sure you hit the like button. Got a bunch of people in here. Make sure you hit the like button if you have not. And we will see you guys on the next one, all right? Be safe. Have fun, guys. Daniel the Adjuster.